And was that for booze?
But by that time it was just booze, yeah. And then I knew, you know, that I couldn't keep going in the same way. But I still thought that I didn't have a problem.
So, Naveen, so what, you were drinking during the day while you were filming?
At that time, yeah.
And would you do it secretively, or would you openly be drinking while you were on a set?
When I was younger, it was open, you know, which is suicidal, really, isn't it?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was out of control.
You were into heroin as well, weren't you, for a while? How many years do you think you lost to heroin?
2 years.
2 years?
Again, I was able to work, you know, and...
It's remarkable, isn't it?
somehow... Well, again, when you're young, you can do that sort of thing. I mean, I don't know how I did it.
Wow. And this was when you were back in India? You were filming over in India, or this was over here?
Over here, and of course in India you can get hold of the pure stuff, can't you? So
that must be even worse if it's the best quality, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it was, what was it? It was Kama Sutra, I think I was doing out there.
Yeah, I heard about it. This is a movie based, of course, on the famous, I guess it's a
supposedly,
a guide
it was just an excuse for, like, shagging on camera.
That's a still from you in Kama Sutra there. So there you would have been...
Loincloth.
You would have been out of it on something, probably.
Well, happily, that character was like an opium addict and a drunk, so, you know.
So you sort out the parts like that and said, yeah...
Give me that part!
Yeah, I can play a junkie,
Please.
no problem. And so how did you get... I'm fortunate enough not to have had anyone close to me get addicted to heroin, so I've only seen it on TV and movies, that kind of path of people going. And sometimes you see it in films and it seems fairly easy to get over. Sometimes they you know, it seems to spend weeks and they're shivering and sweating in the room. I've got no idea what the reality is.
3 days.
And is it as awful and as traumatic an experience as it's made out to be?
Yeah, if you're sick, yeah, it's awful. But it is 3 days. I mean, alcohol withdrawal was much worse. You know, and what the kids have, like, take today, you know, Oxycontins and things like that. I mean, it's like a 9-day withdrawal.
Oxycontins? That's a spot cream, isn't it? What is Oxycontins?
It's synthetic heroin.
Oh, God.
You know, so there are much worse things around.
It's pretty
these
scary,
days.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's awful.
And so you went to a clinic, you got out of it, or you went to a group, had it, or did you have psychiatric help? How did you... And when did you decide, OK, I'm going to put this behind me? Was there a turning point?
Yeah, I drove my son when I was drunk through Topanga Canyon, you know, and he was scared. And that was the point that I decided to go into rehab. Yeah.
You know, that makes perfect sense to me, because there are certain points in your life when you see the effect it may have on other people, or you see it in their eyes, people who are close to you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, do yourself in by all means, but don't harm anybody else.
And I understand that Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols was instrumental. You became friendly with him and he kind of helped you...
Yeah. He says hello, by the way. I spoke to him
I don't really know him. I just saw him on stage recently. I'd love to meet him.
You were in the mosh pit down at Brixton Academy, weren't you?
I was there with the Pistols, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, I met him at a dinner party at this photographer's house, Greg Gorman it was, and he was my hero, Steve, you know, since I was 15, you know, as a guitar player. And I noticed during the course of the evening he wasn't drinking or smoking anything. Yeah, and I was drunk, you know, so I wanted to be polite, you know, and I remember questioning him about it. And he said, no, I don't take anything, nothing. And he told me how long he'd been sober. And that was the first time that I thought, oh, my God, if he can do it,
yeah.
You know, then maybe I have a chance.
Yeah.
You know?
So you kind of wanted to get over it, but you just didn't think necessarily you could achieve it?
Yeah, you just don't think it's possible. You just think, by that point, 29, I had to get sober, but I didn't know for the life of me how to do it. No.
And so what a great chance meeting to have, though. Who would have thought that Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols would be your saviour?
Well, he did say God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
His woodwork to perform.
Is this true that the two of you backed Sir Cliff Richard?
Sir Cliff, yeah.
Right. Now that's something that I find hard to picture, to be honest.
No, I mean it's almost perfect, isn't it? Really, Steve Jones, you know, me, and Sir Cliff.
Sir Cliff, yeah. Did he think, OK, here we've got two people who've given up all the bad things in life, I can get them over to Christianity quite easily now? Did he try and drink it?
We didn't think he was going to turn up. We honestly thought on the day, because I think he thought Steve was going to take the piss out of him,
yeah.
You know, and you know, because of the Pistols' history and who he is.
Yeah.
And he turned up, and you know, we'd rehearsed all the songs, and we did sort of stuff that wasn't so well known, stuff from like the early '60s, just before the Beatles came in and blew the Shadows away, or whatever.
So you did Cliff and the Shadows type stuff. So you were jamming, he was singing.
Yeah, he was playing as well. He had a Gibson SJ200, you know, that he was very proud of. He was so sweet.
And what songs did you do? Can you remember any?
Like an innocent. Well, Talk to Him was one of them. Move It.
Move It. Oh yeah. So good twangy guitar sounds.
Bachelor Boy.
Well, did you think, OK, this could work, we could go on tour? Would you like to... are you a frustrated rock star, do you think, Naveen?
Well, I did that before I ever went to drama school.
So you were in bands and stuff?
Yeah, but with my predilections, I don't know if I would have survived, really.
Well, I think it's a tailor-made fit there. You'd have to come through the other side, but that's the way it goes. What were the bands you were in? What were the name of the bands?
The Halls of Babylon.
The Whores of Babylon, featuring Sir Cliff Richard. You see, it works. OK, let's talk a bit more about Lost then, because I'm dead keen to see how it turns out. But one of the things which I think they made some surprising decisions is sometimes you follow a character, you really get into a character, and boom, they take that character away from you. And it seems to me that they do it deliberately, of course, but they make some odd choices. Are you surprised at the people they've killed off? And are you guys given a fair warning? Do you know in advance how much longer you've got in the show if you're...
It's always very brutal and strange when they get rid of a character, because you've grown to have relationships with them, and for the life of me, especially with Dominic, you know, at the end of last season, I couldn't see why.
And it must have been nice for you to have him there, because of course you're two Brits on the show together. There must have been a bond between the two of you for that reason.
I mean, what we shared was Alan Partridge, you know, our complete obsession with Alan, and none of the Americans knew what we were talking about. You know, they looked askance at us all the time.
And how would you... And so Alan Partridge helped you get through the difficult times?
Well, yeah, it's a great way of expressing rage or, you know, frustration in a humorous way without offending anybody. You know?
So what, just by saying, do you remember that scene, or you do Alan Partridge? What
well, you just be on the middle of the beach sort of shouting, "You don't remember me, do you? Don't remember me, do you?"
And what do the Americans working with you? Because presumably they're not that familiar with Partridge. What do they make of it when you start going, "You don't remember"?
I think they felt a little left out. So I mean, you know, it was like a sort of in-joke that they weren't part of.
Oh, he's back on the sauce. It starts back again on Sky One this Sunday. You're in it for another 2 series and a half, you think? That's if they don't kill you off. I guess you don't know. Are they gonna...
No, they could make up anything, couldn't they, and kill you off?
How nice to meet you. It's a great pleasure having the show, and continue success with Lost and all your other projects. Ladies and gentlemen, Naveen Andrews.
Thank you.
I think that was great. I'd love to hear you jam with me, Cliff. I've got to try.
It was really good.
I met him. I liked him. He's peculiar, but I liked him as well. Thank you for coming on. Naveen Andrews, ladies and gentlemen.